Welcome to Bring Your Brilliance. Are you ready to find and amplify your voice? Looking to be inspired by those who are already out there making it happen? Listen in as we shine a light on those who bring their full, authentic selves to do what they love, make no apologies, and don't try to fit into other people's boxes. With your host, Carla Taylor, who, after years of being inspired by the brilliantly shining people she was meeting, decided others need to hear these stories too.
Welcome to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show. I am your host, Carla Taylor, and we are here on Inspired Choices Network, where it's all about being inspired and making great choices. And I am so excited to bring this episode of Bring Your Brilliance to you today because really, Jessika is the woman who started it all. And I know she doesn't even really know that, but it was because I went to Jessika's amazing conference in May of last year that we're going to talk a little bit more about. But she and the speakers there challenged everyone in the audience to get consistent content out the door. And so leaving there was what made me pull the trigger and make the decision to do this show. And here I am. So Jessika is really the reason why you are all getting to hear all of these amazing guests now that I am bringing onto the show. So I am so excited to share Jessika with you. She is a powerhouse, and I have been blown away by what I have seen as evidence of not just the talk of relationship-based marketing, but really she walks that talk and does incredible things from the middle of America. And I'm just so wowed by everything that Jessika does. So let me go through our introduction to the show, and then we will start chatting with Jessika. So this show, the topic is 2020. We are headed into a new year, and how cool is it that it's 2020 for, clarity of vision and all of that too. But 2020 is the year of relationship marketing. And of course, our guest is Jessika Phillips. And what we're going to be talking about today is what are the marketing predictions and trends to come in 2020? One that everyone can agree with is the growth of conversational marketing, personalization, and dark social, with organic engagement reaching a low 0.09% average in 2019. How can one ensure their message is being seen, but more importantly, heard, using digital media without the constant pay-to-play model? We are in an age of digital content saturation, and now we are finding ourselves pushing to move our brands up to the top of a sea of samesies. What we do is not unique, but how we do and share it can be. So how can we align our brands to build the right messaging that connects to the emotions of your consumers to achieve sustainable and maximum business growth? So together, Jessika and I are going to discuss why the sales funnel doesn't work and how to build relationships with our ideal clients to increase ROI, reduce churn, and grow word-of-mouth business. And a little bit about Jessika. Her personal mission is to help aligned leaders love more, give more, and be more in their business through the art of relationship marketing. Selected as one of the top 12 global rising stars on social media to watch and Women-Owned Business of the Year in 2018, Jessika is on a mission to make relationships at the forefront of business marketing. She's known for this outspoken dedication to relationship marketing. Jessika lives by her statement that relationships will always be more powerful than marketing, and she believes in being a magnet versus a bullhorn to truly connect with your tribe. As a digital marketing strategist, Jessika founded Now Marketing Group in 2010 with only a laptop and a vision. The company is now a Forbes-recognized agency partner and a certified inbound partner with HubSpot. Now Marketing Group works with more than 100 clients across the United States and beyond, choosing to serve, not sell. Wow, Jessika, that is amazing. And of course, the URL to reach it is nowmarketinggroup.com, and we'll circle back around to that. And of course, we always want everyone to connect on LinkedIn. It is Jessika with a K, Jessika Phillips. And again, we'll talk about that again later on. But welcome to Bring Your Brilliance.
This is awesome. And oh my goodness, I did not know all of that's transpired since Social Media Week 1. Only a snippet that you've shared in our group, and I just love every time you come in there and you just share such warmth and your energy radiates through the group. But that was really amazing to hear. That made my day. Thank you.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't know if I really fully ever told you that, but I've been telling everyone
so cool.
else.
I love that.
That conference really, truly changed my life, and I didn't even know about it. It was who, Dr. I Zhang, who was going to be there, and I'd known her before, and so I didn't actually even know Lima existed.
Many people don't. That's a common thing. Many people think it's in Peru, but yeah.
It was such a happy accident that I was there, and I'm so thrilled of all the forces that came to be to get me there, and then I was blown away. And I have attended so many conferences in my life, and I've never seen anything like it. And it was not only the combination and collection of the speakers were so amazing, but the authenticity was off the charts. And clearly that speaks volumes about you and what you've attracted into your life and into your tribe, and the tone that you set for every single person there to be through and through so authentic and genuine. And I've never before in my life, and I've said this before, and I don't think I've told you this, but I've never before in my life seen speakers who interacted and mingled and truly, genuinely wanted to help every single person in that audience, regardless of whether they got anything out of it. And everywhere, there's always some sort of agenda when somebody's a speaker. They want to maybe leave a little bit so that somebody has to come and learn from them and has to pay to learn from them. And every single person there genuinely connected with everyone in the room to a point of I was just wowed. Yes, and just there to serve and there to connect, and it literally changed my life. It gave me ahas in a way I've never had. It actually made me recognize that I'm already, I never called myself a social media person because I've done a ton on LinkedIn, but I'm not like the young, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the things, but I love LinkedIn, and I learned so much about personal branding in a way, again, just things maybe I'd heard before, but I hadn't actually heard, mostly because of the way it was modeled in that room. So I could go on and on and on, and I don't want to do all the talking, but I just have to share with you.
No, you know what? I think this actually is the perfect framework for what we're talking about today. This is actually a really great example to break down the shift and what's really happening now in the future as it relates to business and marketing and how brands can have sustainable growth in the future. It is a perfect kind of example of how that can work because, and I'm sure we'll break this down in our conversation, but just a couple points I want to point out, kind of come back to, is that you heard about this from word of mouth. You checked it out, wanted to know about it because it was somebody that you trusted. You went there, you had an experience. That experience moved you, created emotion. Experience is a verb. It's a way you make someone feel. You had an experience that moved you to have an impact in your life, which then made it something that's going to stick with you because it wasn't just a one-time thing. It changed you. Right. And then now you're telling others about it. Right? And so what's going to happen, it's going to have this ripple effect. I didn't know that this was happening potentially with you, right? I didn't know. I knew that you said you had a good experience, but I didn't know you're telling others about it. So now this is going to have a ripple effect. What I had is now going to, impacted and rippled to you, now to your tribe, and then potentially that's going to happen again. And the other thing to note, so that's just the component of it, but starting from the inside out, which we'll get into, having everyone aligned that was there, team members, the people that were there serving the audience and having this experience, all were aligned as well with the same mission. So there was a detailed mission, and all of us showed up to deliver that mission and that experience, which was succinct, and then could have such a great experience moving forward. And then another just real quick note on that we'll get into too, logistics, but you actually just articulated this so perfectly of where things are shifting just in your personal example. And I think it's easier for people to understand then when they can associate it to a real life example, right? So the other thing you mentioned is I'm not a social media person, but when you're inspired and you love connecting, it's not about the tools there. It's about your technique. All it is just social and the way that you're using it to build relationships, and that's exactly what you've done. And so these are all the shifts that are taking place that you've just already really articulated beautifully in your example. And we can break this down more kind of a step by step, but this is what's happening. This is the new normal, and this is what brands need to realize now and moving forward if they want to prosper in 2020.
Absolutely, and you have created by far a raving fan in me. I cannot sing the praises enough of everything that you brought to this conference, but like I said, just even modeling the way and holding the context for people to understand those genuine connections that I have left there and genuinely been very connected still to a lot of the people and the speakers that I met there. And in fact, Brian Wallace and I have been chatting ever since, and he's now coming to Indianapolis to do a LinkedIn local here. And I mean, it's just amazing how giving everyone from there is as well. And like I said, just the genuine connection. I've actually had several people as guests on this show too. It's just been this whirlwind for me. And like I said, I had been thinking about this radio show and thinking about podcasts and different things. And I had tried in the past to do a podcast on my own, and I realized I really needed the support and the community and the relationship of having a team and producers and that weekly accountability to make sure I got consistent content out the door. And that's what I heard over and over and over again from the speakers at your conference was just start, Brian Fanda, push the damn button. You just got to get it out there. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm still learning about this whole radio show thing, but I did it, and I just took action, and I'm learning as I go. And, again, those are all the things that I know we're going to talk about. But before we do that, oh, my goodness, we're already at the first break, actually. So this is actually a good time to break. But when we come back from break, I want to talk a little bit, because I always like to, for my listeners, share how people got to the success that they're at. So you've had an amazing success with your business and with this conference. So I want to briefly walk, very quickly through your career path to get here and what made you successful in these things. And then let's start breaking down all the rest of the good stuff that we talked about in the intro. So Again, my name is Carla Taylor. This is Bring Your Brilliance. I'm talking with the one and only amazing Jessika Phillips with Now Marketing Group. We're on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
We all have a personal brand. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. What if you knew how to clearly and confidently communicate your value in a compelling way? Tune into the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor to discover the tools, resources, and inspiration you need to get started and keep growing. Are you ready to make your mark? Learn how to bring your brilliance by listening to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor. To join today's conversation, call in the U.S. at 815-880-8255 or Canada at 613-800-8736 or Skype at Inspired Choices Network. Or ask a question or send a comment by email at bringyourbrilliance@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Carla Taylor. You are listening to Bring Your Brilliance on Inspired Choices Network. And today we are talking all about what's to come in 2020 and the current trends that are going on, the marketing predictions, and, of course, the year of relationship marketing. We are talking with Jessika Phillips of Now Marketing Group, and we are about to dive into a little bit about your background, and then I want to jump into all of this fantastic content as well.
Awesome. Sounds good to me. So do you want to hear about like how the conference got started, or a little bit about like the agency, or
just
both?
Your own personal journey to begin with? So a little bit about like where did you go from the beginning of your career to get to running a very successful marketing agency? Like that's a story, and I want to briefly cover that, and then the conference itself, and then that hopefully we will also be weaving in some of the things that we're talking about too.
Yeah, I'll give you like the Cliff Notes version. So I started working like 8 years old, and I was always a little kid that wanted like office supplies and stuff for Christmas, and I loved working because I realized I could have my own money and get things, and grew up with a bigger family that, you know, didn't have a lot, so working was my jam, and I loved it. But always with technology too, and just kind of entrepreneurship. Got that from my grandfather, and started though in telecommunications. That was my first big girl job, I would say, and I worked my way up from customer service, sales, store manager, and then distribution partner. And all along that journey was when technology was changing quite a bit, where the polyphonic ringtones were coming out, and data and photo messaging and text messaging was coming out. I'm showing my age a little bit here. But I realized that there was similarities across the board with everyone that was wanting to purchase these items, that they weren't really wanting to purchase anything until they could see themselves using it and how it would, you know, solve a problem in their day or help them reach a goal faster. And I was always fascinated with psychology. I actually started going to school for psychology first, but my employer would only pay for schooling if it was related to the work I was doing. So it transitioned into business. And as I was working my way up the corporate ladder, I realized psychology was really a lot like marketing. And it aligned so well. So I was fascinated by just consumer purchasing behaviors and what made a customer want to work with one business over another. And as I worked as a distribution partner for this telecommunications company, I worked with mom and pop shops and realized they had no marketing budget at all, but was just fascinated by them. And during that time, that's when social media was coming out. And so I was helping them get set up on social pages to help them market their business, and realized their clientele was a lot more loyal and happy to be there, referring them on and working with them, and just loved this brand. And I noticed the shift starting happening with social, and loved it. But during that time, I got pregnant with my daughter, got super sick, and was in the hospital for 6 out of the 9 months that I was pregnant. And I lost the employer said they couldn't cover my position, so they had my job replaced by somebody else, which I realize is completely illegal now. But that was actually, at the time, I thought was the worst thing, but then the best thing that could have happened to me, because it motivated me to want to create something for myself and never be put in that position again. So that's where I decided to start a digital marketing agency. I was getting more calls about social media and helping these businesses than I was for the telecommunications company anyway at the time. So it just kind of sparked a light bulb. Went to school for internet marketing then, started Now Marketing Group in 2010, and then attended, I just was fascinated by learning as much as I could, just soaking it all in, following the thought leaders of the time in researching what all was out there, and found social media marketing world the first year that it had opened up, attended that at conference, and realized there was nothing here like that in my community. And how I grew the agency was offering free trainings in our community, and just teaching businesses how to use social. And every time I do a free training in person, this was before the day of live video and all that awasomeness, was in person. They would come, they would learn how to do it, and then they would eventually become a client, potentially, a couple of them. And then when I attended Social Media Marketing World, I was like, you know what, I need to bring something like this to our community on a bigger scale. And it's not just me teaching, it's all these amazing people. So started building relationships with the speakers and people that were there, and then ended up bringing that to Lima the next year, and then just kind of grown it from there.
That is awesome. So I know the conference has grown every year, and the people were coming from all over the world, really. I mean, I was coming from Korea. So you were definitely attracting all kinds of talented people into, the middle of the United States, where often we don't get as much love. So
yeah,
even, like I said, the people that you were bringing in was amazing. And the people that were attending the conference as well were from all over. And some of them had driven 2 days to get there. And I was blown away by the dedication and commitment of the people that were attending as well.
I am always just in awe of the community and how many people make it their conference to attend, and our closest airport is an hour and 45 minutes away. So it is definitely a commitment to fly there, to get in, to travel into the area, and stay in kind of middle of Midwest Ohio, that the population is like 30,000.
Well, and that too is such a testament that, most people would have said, that's impossible, Jessica, go to a bigger city near an airport, and you didn't. You proved everybody wrong. That would normally say you can't expect people to go that far, but you did it, and you've been doing it every year since.
Challenge accepted. Yeah, so my goal is really just to help the community here and kind of keep them ahead of the curve, because there's some really good people here. And I just feel as if there's just this misconception of how marketing should be done. And that's why I say my personal mission is really, truly to help people understand that they can use relationship marketing and just feel good about, loving more and giving more and just being more and authentically relating with their audience, but things that make them feel good anyway. And it can work, that they don't have to use these other marketing tactics that they've been told to try to win an audience, because I'm so sad of seeing and tired of seeing businesses close their doors and, seeing these empty buildings in our community. It's just really sad. And there's just been a misconception for so long, and it just needs to change.
I completely agree. So let's go ahead and start breaking down some of this, because I know not everyone is as well versed in these marketing terms. So first, let's just talk about what exactly is relationship marketing.
Yeah, so relationship marketing in its simplest form is really just focusing on your ideal audience that you are serving today or want to serve if you're a new business, and focusing on them to grow repeat and referral business. Never stopping marketing to your existing audience so they want to refer you on. Using this example like you talked about with the conference, I had a relationship with built a relationship with her. She's referring you to the conference. Now you came, had a great experience, you're referring it on. It's growing repeat and referral business. So multiplying your attraction into the business, and you're working like a magnet to draw the right people in, versus traditional marketing has always taught us that we need to be a bullhorn, shout a message out, come attend my event, come to my business, buy, when really you just need to focus on the experience of turning your clients into advocates for you, your community members into collaborators with you, your team members into evangelists, and your followers on your page into true fans when you think about social media, and just making this shift in mindset from just focusing on somebody buying from you and instead focusing on them belonging with you and finding their tribe.
Ooh, I love that. And the belonging part, it came through, like you had so many details of how you showed that and modeled that at the conference, and I'm sure in other places as well, that it really did create an entire experience. And even the little touches of things that you did for the speakers and the bobbleheads and, things like that were meaningful, experiential, not just, let me give you some money or something. It was very much more of an experience. I think there was someone who really liked wine or someone else who really liked Coca-Cola, and there were different times that you shared things that were very special touches and thoughtful gifts to the people that you were connecting with.
Yeah, and that's key. And granted, it's easier to do when you're in person, right? So, it's hard to do online. And that's the shift that's really trying to help brands understand that you have to focus on the whole process from start to finish, because 80% now of buying decisions are starting online. They're starting there. They're making their first impression of what it would be like to work with you and kind of mentally painting a picture of what is my experience going to be like based upon what they're finding online. And 60% of their journey of moving from, just awareness of what they're looking for, and consideration, and then their decision is all being done without your knowledge that it's happening. So that's the shift. That's the big pivot that brands need to focus on, because a lot of these businesses, they have it together when you come into the store or the location or you get on the phone with them, right? They're like, we got this. Our customer service is stellar, right? We treat our customers well. Our clients love us. What they're missing is that a lot of the experience is happening without them directly being connected. It's everything that's involved. It's the tone that you're setting, everything that you're setting at the center core and working from the inside out, meaning having this goal and this brand manifesto of what you want to show up and stand for and want people to feel, and knowing that right out of the gate, and your team and everybody's aligned with it. And then having, your ideal audience of who you want to serve. And so you can have this magnet kind of attraction to them because you're meeting them where they're at and really delivering what they want, as well as, then knowing, okay, here's where we're going to have the conversations and what we're going to show up online to deliver that is going to match what they're looking for when they're looking for it, and going to make them feel like they've found the right spot to connect with. And having this full journey from before they're a customer, while they're looking, until they become a customer, and then until they're becoming an advocate for you, all kind of as part of your business and marketing plan of building these relationships. And that's the shift, because, like I said, they may have it together when they're in the store or at the location, but there's other elements that are happening behind the scenes that a brand may not be aware of or connected with.
That's fantastic, and that's exactly what I want to talk about. We're actually getting ready to go to our second break, but I want to go ahead and leave off here and come back to walking through maybe an example of what that really looks like. You talked about these different phases and the fact that I agree, 80% of the buying decision is before people even meet you. So let's talk about that. Again, my name is Carla Taylor. This is Bring Your Brilliance. We're talking with Jessika Phillips with Now Marketing Group. We're here on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
We all have a personal brand. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. What if you knew how to clearly and confidently communicate your value in a compelling way? Tune into the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor to discover the tools, resources, and inspiration you need to get started and keep growing. Are you ready to make your mark? Learn how to bring your brilliance by listening to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor. To join today's conversation, call in the U.S. at 815-880-8255 or Canada at 613-800-8736 or Skype at Inspired Choices Network. Or ask a question or send a comment by email at bringyourbrilliance@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Hi, and welcome back. I am Carla Taylor. We are here on Inspired Choices Network. This is the Bring Your Brilliance radio show, and we were just getting into the good stuff with Jessika Phillips of Now Marketing Group, talking about relationship marketing and talking about what can and needs to happen online. before people ever come in through your, whether it's actual physical doors or virtual doors of working with you directly. So Jessika, can you give us an example of what that, like if somebody's brand new to this or just starting out, what are some of the things that they can do and how can they walk their clients through this type of journey?
Yeah, and I think it's important to kind of set the framework. So when I say like this journey is starting online, it's really important to know that you are amongst a sea of samesies. And what I mean by that is if you're searching as your ideal audience would online for a service or a solution that you're providing, see what shows up. Chances are it doesn't matter if you're a niche of a business, that someone out there is doing what you do and they have access to it easier than ever before, access to information and making their decision right there online of who they're wanting to work with. So the key is, how do you stand out amongst these sea of samesies is what I like to call it, because it's not what you do, it's how you do it that's really going to attract someone to work with you. So when we're working with a client, we start with the discovery process first. That's kind of the first key. And we ask them where they're finding their best leads and where they're getting their most profitable customers. And every time, hands down, they say their best leads are coming from word of mouth, referrals, and their best profitable, or most profitable rather, customers are ones that have already done business with them and stuck with them longer. So I'm like, that makes sense. People that have already trusted you and they're wanting to work with you are referring you on, as well as the people that have, developed a good relationship with you or wanting to spend more with you. And so we're asking them, how are you doubling down then on your best lead generator and, getting more profitable customers? And they really haven't thought of it that way because they've always been taught that marketing is, pushing this message out to get new in, to keep feeding this sales funnel that we've always been taught. And here's the shift though, because now the sales funnel is dead. The most profitable customer is the one that's been there with you longest, and your best source of lead generation is word of mouth referral. But it looks a little bit different today because of access to information online when people are making decisions and comparing products and services. Referrals look a little bit different. It's not just the people that we know personally. We're looking at these referrals and recommendations and reviews online and solutions that people are putting up and saying who they've used. Social networks have it built in to make suggestions for people. And we're considering the reviews that are public facing online as trustworthy as if a personal connection told it to us. So now word of mouth looks a lot different. 88% of consumers say they'll either completely trust online reviews or, public-facing reviews as much as a personal connection, where they don't trust marketing messages. So the most trusted source is reviews. The least trusted is marketing messages. So we really do need our audience, our current customers, to be our generator of marketing. And so how this works now to generate new sales, it looks like a flywheel instead of a funnel. Instead of trying to always feed new customers in, and the only way we've thought to do this before was, cold calling or traditional marketing methods that don't work anymore. People don't want to be interrupted. They don't want to, be, fooled. They don't trust the marketing messages. It's not to say that traditional marketing is bad. It's just how you approach it needs to be changed. And so today, what it looks like is a traditional flywheel of, sales flywheel, of growing momentum in your business, of how can I encourage my audience to want to refer me more often? How can I capture attention, articulate our message in a way that's easy to understand and people can refer us on? How can I build relationships and experiences that are going to help grow momentum, to expand our reach outward, to have this ripple effect, like we were talking about with you in the conference? Showing up because you heard it from and now you're telling your network, and then those people potentially are coming in and then telling their network. It's growing in momentum and building sustainable growth over time. And if we break down all those elements, capturing attention, how are you standing out online and showing up amongst a sea of samesies, articulating our message to make sure it's easy to understand so people can refer us on, building, genuine relationships with our clients, community, team members, and then focusing on exceptional experiences, that breaks down to an acronym of CARE. all we need to do is just care a lot more of who we are as an organization, who our customers are, and how we want to show up to serve them. And when we do that, all of our marketing is going to look a lot different. If you're doing TV commercials, it's going to have a feeling to it instead of feeling marketing-ish, you know? I love the saying, and I don't know the original person that said it, but the best marketing doesn't feel like marketing, you know? It just feels like communication and relationship building, you know? So it's featuring your current customers and looking at ways that you can personalize your experiences so it does have the sense of belonging to it versus buying. And that's what's happening in 2020 and what's really going to be the key trends. They said the key trends in 2020, and these are studies that have been done and insights that have been done, as well as some of my predictions of what's going to really be important is relationship marketing, you know, growing that growth, search engine optimization, how you're showing up online during that 80% where the buying decisions are starting. Video, of course, is still growing in popularity, but one of the most missed opportunities with video is video and email, you know, showing up in a new way, video, email. Conversational marketing, so private communication. Dark social is growing, and it's a lot different than dark web. What dark social means is that social is moving into private conversations, messenger, right, email, groups, private communities. So what this looks like today is getting invited into that conversation. If we look at even what Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg says, he said the future of Facebook is private. And if you've looked at any of the updates recently, he's doubling down on Messenger and groups. So as a brand, I would take that as a key indicator of that's where we need to be moving into conversational marketing, making things easy for clients to do business with us, get in touch with us with a real person, and build that experience. Paid online is also growing, showing up with, of course, the ads to show up, but it's how you're doing it that is meeting people where they're at that really needs to have a core strategy, and then just focusing on areas to build that experience every step of the journey that a customer is with you. So knowing who you are genuinely as a brand, what you want people to feel, who your audience is, and how can you show up to deliver that feeling and emotion to them before you even get to talk to them.
Wow, there's so much there. And I love everything that you said. The dark social, I've never heard that term before, but I've seen it happening, so I just didn't know there was a name for it. But I agree, like bringing people into these smaller groups and smaller communities, and even the one-on-one connections and conversations. And I know LinkedIn as well has now, they have the inbox audio and video that you can leave private messages in LinkedIn. Like, that's awesome. And again, something I'd never, I think, and Messenger's doing that too. And so it is definitely that personalization piece as well as that deeper connection. So dark social is definitely a new term for me. And then you were talking about, too, the recommendations and referrals, and it's just interesting because yesterday my cousin is out in Arizona, and she works in the realty world, and she was actually interviewing passersby on the street of how do you find a realtor? What do you normally do? And almost every single person said, I ask my friends. And they're like, well, what if your friends don't know? And well, then I go and look for recommendations like on Yelp or on Facebook or wherever else. Like, it's exactly what you said is what I just saw playing out yesterday as far as real on the street customer feedback.
Yeah. And that's key, right? And with all of these elements, one thing is consistent throughout it. It's personalization, right? It's having a direct connection with your audience. So that's the key. Even when we talk back to email and people think, oh, that's maybe archaic, the old way of doing it is archaic. The new way of doing it is personalized email that's like, hey, I noticed you just purchased this. You may also like this. It's coming with a name in there. It's being very specific to what you're looking for and showing up when you need it, almost like they're talking directly to you, right? There's been several studies that have been done, and I can send you the notes on this, on just personalized emails and how it's reduced customer churn by 20%, and it gets a higher open rate, 75% more open rate on your email if you just personalize it a little bit. And the only way to do that, though, is if you have, some kind of database that you are really or keeping, tabs on who your client is, customers are. So you can deliver up experiences that are specific to them and make it memorable. So we always tell clients to start from the inside out for like action items, from today, starting with the inside out. Again, going first to list out your goals of what you want to accomplish. Who do you want to be known for? What do you want to have others say about you? Like, what is your message? How can you simply say how you help solve a problem or help someone reach a goal that you want them to be able to articulate, them being your audience, your community, your team members, and then decide who is your ideal audiences. So typically most people have 3. And when I say ideal audience, I'm not saying a woman in her 30s, that lives in this location. What I'm saying is a woman that has 3 kids. Her goals are to, live an extraordinary life. She's always on the go. She loves going to Starbucks. She's recently, at this age now where her kids are hanging out with their friends, and now she's trying to build up her friendships and have some nights out with her friends again. And she's really into advancing her career and self-development. She loves, Brene Brown and Rachel Hollis and Carla Taylor, and she wants to, listen to these podcasts and videos. And so she's hanging out online with these groups and listening to this podcast, painting a picture of your ideal person as if they're sitting across from you, because then that's how you're going to be able to show up online with these social conversation starters to meet them where they're at. It allows you to know what kind of copy to have on your website, what kind of visuals that you can have and show up with that is going to appeal to this person, how to personalize your emails so it resonates with that person, how to set up delight elements. If we had a download for her, that is going to help her map out her 12 months to her next career advancement or whatever it is, that she would care about, that how we can show up and to serve her. Those things are going to help a brand know not only how to articulate their message, what kinds of conversation starters to put out there, how to maintain a sense of belonging with this person, but then also what social networks to even get set up on, and what elements of delight they can add in that is going to be meaningful to this person over time.
Wow. Okay. So we are actually getting ready to take our third break. I want to dig in a little bit more to what you just said, and even like what are some of those elements of delight that people could be employing. And I have so many more questions for us to quickly get through before we end today, because our time is already almost coming to an end. So let's go ahead and go to break. We'll be right back. Again, my name is Carla Taylor, Bring Your Brilliance radio show here with Jessika Phillips with Now Marketing Group on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
We all have a personal brand. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. What if you knew how to clearly and confidently communicate your value in a compelling way? Tune in to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor to discover the tools, resources, and inspiration you need to get started and keep growing. Are you ready to make your mark? Learn how to bring your brilliance by listening to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor. To join today's conversation, call in the U.S. at 815-880-8255 or Canada at 613-800-8736 or Skype at Inspired Choices Network. Or ask a question or send a comment by email at bringyourbrilliance@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
And welcome back again. My name is Carla Taylor. We are listening to Bring Your Brilliance, and we're listening to Jessika's Brilliance. Jessika Phillips with Now Marketing Group has been sharing all sorts of amazing gems and information about the upcoming trends and what's happening in the year 2020 and what we can expect going forward. We've been talking a lot about building deeper connections and more personal connections. And Jessika, you were just talking about creating experiences of delight along the way. So can you give me some, well, actually, before we do that, I know we tend to run out of time at the end. So before we do that, please tell everyone how to get a hold of you, how to find you, how to learn from you, how to connect with you, and then we'll get into that.
Absolutely. So if you're more interested in this topic, an easy way is to just type in getahead2020.com. That will take you right to the Now Marketing Group website and give you the resource on how to plan out your year in 2020 to activate a lot of these items that we're talking about today. Free workbook and guide, all of it right there.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so back to delighting people. Let's go through some examples of that, and then I have another couple questions for you.
Sure. So I'll give you kind of a couple different examples. So the first one is, like, traditionally, if you think of influencers, right, we're thinking of like people that you're paying and we're wanting somebody to share out our message, right? But if we're focusing on adding a level of delight with our current audience, and our end goal is really to get people to want to refer us on more often, we're not going to traditionally think of influencers in their traditional sense. We're going to think of our influencers are our customers, right? So our customers have the most influence over others. They're more believable because they've actually used the product. Their audience already trusts them, so they're going to have more impact on someone choosing to do business with you or not. So here's a good example of delight. I have a network of women that we go on what's called a Queenie's Retreat. So each 6 months, a group of us women get together and we talk about changes in digital and just, align with each other and focus on our businesses and just have a great time. And each time we're there, we have a video that we do live talking about an important matter in digital. And we posted this online, and a company called Agora Pulse reached out to us, and they said, you know what, I love what you guys are doing. I think it's a super important topic for you guys to talk about women in digital, and we want to treat you to a dinner and wine. So they had sent us some funds to have a really nice dinner and wine. Here's the key to that. We were all already Agora Pulse users. We already loved their business. We were already super fans of theirs. However, when we had this dinner and they had doubled down on focusing on rewarding us, and because they loved what we were doing, we talked about them even more often while we were at dinner. And that $200, because now we're on this live video talking about them, and blasting them everywhere, that had more of an impact than if they would have spent $200 on a Facebook ad trying to convince people to buy Agora Pulse. They were doubling down on their audience. Now, I'm not saying everybody needs to spend money to buy their customers dinner and wine. This can be done in a completely free way. It could be just taking a moment to send a personalized video email back to someone thanking them for their time. It could be creating a Facebook group like we have for our clients, letting them know about things that are getting ready to change in social so they can be aware. Letting them know YouTube just rolled out with, this child protection act to where they need to change up their video settings if there's any children in it. Letting them know that we appreciate them by sending them a card on their anniversary date or noticing something that they're doing online. It can look like, when I purchase things on Amazon, getting a handwritten note by the person that had created it and telling them thank you for that, for me making this purchase. It can look like just going a little bit extra than what you would have normally done. And what I mean by that is people are not going to refer you on and get super excited about, going out and promoting your business if you've just done what they've paid you to do. If there was an equal exchange of value, that's not a feeling. If you, though, deliver more than what you said that you were going to give them, and they feel like they're receiving more value and it's personalized to them than what they paid for, that's when they will refer you on. And it's not meaning just giving them extra products and services or whatever. That could be something, right? But it's really about just little touches, little details. remembering their name or something about them, asking them questions, talking to them like a human, having a chat, on your website so you can communicate after hours. Just being real, just treat people like a human and like you would want to be treated, and just get rid of everything else that's nonsense and bureaucracy and all that crap that nobody likes anyway. That's all it means, is really just focusing on how can than when they came to see me originally. How can I make them feel something and show up in a meaningful way that is really empowering them to be better than when they originally came.
Well, I love that, and that human element, and even the acronym you shared earlier of CARE, and it really genuinely is about caring. Like, people can tell if you care or not, than if you're just going through the motions. And I think that really is the secret, to be that real, genuine person that really genuinely wants to help those people. So one thing I do want to ask, and I know we've got some people listening that don't have any customers yet. So they don't even have existing customers. They're brand new, and they don't have anybody to work that current client relationship. So what would you tell those people about how they can start creating their first clients?
Yeah, that is definitely an area where I think that you do have to think about traditional marketing, right? And putting your name out there. However, your marketing does still need to look different. You still need to go in with a clear plan, because that's going to lay the foundation for growth, right? And then think about, how can I show up? Like I said, when I started growing now, it was offering free trainings around this thing. And I still stick to that. That's an area of delight too. Like the webinar I just did on, getting ahead in 2020, dedicating time to really serve the audience in that way. So if you're starting a new business, knowing who you are at your core, your brand, manifesto of what you want to leave people with, knowing your audience, and then knowing your activators. So who are some community members that already have that audience that you want to get in front of, and how can you build relationships with them, right? So how can you align, let's say if you are a realtor and you're starting off your journey in growing your real estate business, you'd probably want to get involved with some home stagers, some home inspectors, and start building some relationships there and work with them. Maybe you're creating a guide on, the ways to sell your home faster, and, including those home stagers and those home inspectors on this guide. Think about who you can align with that is serving the same audience that you're wanting to serve, and how can you build a relationship with them to feature some people in that community, and then show up in a way that you're serving first, and then put your messages out there. So having a clear path from start to finish where somebody can get in touch with you, buy from you, and then start that relationship marketing journey after they become a customer with you. That's where the traditional marketing will come into play, where you're going to put some money into some paid advertising until you earn it, because you're either doing paid or earned, and hopefully both at most times. But you would put some money into your ads there, and then depending on your business niche and who you're trying to get in front of, what other marketing avenues that you go with. But there's nothing better than aligning with some community activators for your business that would really make sense.
Okay, well, that is a fantastic place to end. I know there's so many more questions that we could be asking you, and definitely we want to, and we'll be posting the link to have people connect with the amazing resource you just shared with us. And of course, nowmarketinggroup.com is the website to get in contact with Jessika Phillips. Find her online. It's Jessika with a K. And again, my name is Carla Taylor. And find me and Bring Your Brilliance at bringyourbrilliance.net, or connect with me on LinkedIn. I love also to create relationships and genuinely care about the people that I'm serving. So thank you again so much for your time, Jessika. We have so appreciated having you here. And this is your reminder to go out there and be bold and be brave and be brilliant and be you fully and completely and genuinely. And that is what is going to attract people to you like a magnet instead of a bullhorn. Thank you so much, Jessika, and thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Bring Your Brilliance with Carla Taylor. For the latest updates and info on personal branding, please follow and interact with Carla Taylor on LinkedIn. And be sure to visit www.itstimetoBringIt.com. Join Carla Taylor every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until